Hello and welcome to the first recording of the OtakuZ podcast. My name is Chandler. My name is Chandler with the Z. I'm here with
the Uncrowned Otaku.
Yeah! Let's go.
Gotta get the cheers in the background.
Yeah, we'll put in cheers or something. Yeah. So happy New Year, everybody. For one, it's January 1st while we're recording this. And
oh my gosh, it's Happy New Year.
Yeah, it is the new of year. Yeah, today we're just kind of going over Death Battle Season 10 because that just finished up like a couple weeks ago now. And,
yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and we had the opportunity to process all that has happened this season, and so I figured that's where we would kind of just start with a little a complete tier list of season 10. All was it like 18 episodes this season?
Something like that, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 episodes.
16, yep.
And so I figured I'd put it in there's no particular order here, although it is kind of funny. I think we're starting off with episode 1, which is Ant-Man versus Adam.
Just solid episode.
Yeah, it was
a solid episode.
It was a good start to the season. I feel like it was I wouldn't say it was anything impressive. I think it was just really cool usage of their abilities.
It made sense because they're like the same character in different, universes.
Yeah. We it's like the Batman Iron Man fights. It's like was it Hawkeye Green Arrow kind of fight. I think it was very interesting how they said that Adam technically would have more damage output, I think is what they concluded, but Ant-Man has fought with people that have that type of power output and come out on top, even though
I think he's smarter.
Yeah, he's definitely. It came down. This is literally one of those fights that came down to who was more intelligent and who could outthink the other. This season, and I think that it was very interesting to see that they gave, which I feel like this didn't happen in earlier seasons of Death Battle.
No, they really went into detail and thought in this one.
Yeah, and it was really cool to see that. All in all, I think this is B tier for me.
I was literally gonna say B. It's a solid B.
Perfect. Then I think we're in agreement here, and that the fight is gonna go right here as our first section in B. I think that's a perfect spot for it. Believe it indeed. All right. The next fight on the list here is Stitch versus Rocket. Let me just make sure I went the wrong way, and I did not go the right way. I guess we're doing never mind. We're doing Bill
versus Discord.
Bill versus Discord.
Oh, this is one of my favorites of the season. I'm not gonna
absolutely
top so tier. Much fun.
I think this was the best pixel animated fight of the season by far.
Easily. It had action, humor, guest appearances, bro. It had it all.
There were so many episodes. Okay, well, actually, going back on that, there were so many episodes this season that had teasers or hints or things that could possibly be death battles, just thrown in the background, and I thought that was hilarious. This whole season, they were teasing Light versus Columbo.
Who is Columbo?
Columbo is an old detective show. Columbo it's about Detective Columbo, but the thing is, the debate was really more around of could Columbo figure out that Light is Kira, and that's really what the more of discussion has been around that. Not necessarily that Kira could because I think the only way that one of them wins is by using the Death Note, for sure. But it really came down to some weird stuff. But it was they were teasing it in the background of a bunch of different ones, and I was like, that's such a weird choice. And I forget which episode it was, but it was like a couple episodes before this. I saw like the little teaser for it, and I'm like, are we really getting that as like a season finale? That seems so weird. But we'll get in a way. But what we got for the finale this year was pretty cool, I think. Anyways, Billcord. Let's
hold on, no. Hold on, real quick before we do that, because you just brought something to my mind. What would be cool in the realm of Kira and Light? Put him against Case Closed Detective Conan, because he also goes by a different name. He's known as, when he's in the little form, he's Conan something, but his real name is Jimmy Kudo. So could Light figure out who Conan actually is before Conan figures out who Light actually is? Actually, that would be a fire matchup.
That is a fire matchup. But the thing is, does Detective Conan or Conan, right?
Yeah.
Case Closed.
Yep.
Does he like have any like fighting feats or like anything like that?
He took martial arts with what's her name back in the day, and his shoes have like some kind of technology in it. So when he kicks a soccer ball, it kicks at like super fast and high speeds and knocks people out. So he's got like tech on his body.
Okay.
And sleeping darts on his watch.
Interesting. So he could definitely take out Light for sure.
Yeah, if they were to fight, he would win.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know. Light has like if there was no like. Well, we'll get to that. I feel like there's a future video.
That's another episode. Of
let's talk about what's important on the table here. One of the best episodes of the season, Billcord. I thought this was super cool. Like the way that they were just the way that they did the fourth wall breaks and the way that they did like them messing with the whole season. To be honest, like there was little bits and pieces everywhere. Like the teasers for the fight were all based around this fight. The teasers for the season were all based around this fight. That's where we got the little like cipher thing. And I thought it was a very interesting comparison of very toony, very cartoon overlord reality warpers.
And I think the best thing about this for me is that I knew nothing about both of these characters, and it was still such a good watch.
Yeah.
So this was like, even if you don't know them, this is enjoyable.
Yeah. For me personally, I think this is actually like my favorite of the season, so I feel like I gotta put it in S tier.
I'm putting it in S tier as well.
Okay, cool.
It's my second favorite.
I think it was also one of the more interesting conclusions to a battle. Like really, they pretty much had counters for everything that the other had. It was just the fact, like, really the only thing that like Bill had over Discord was the fact that he could regenerate from his soul, where Discord could not. And it was just like
people were still split at the ending too. They were like, "Oh no, well, Bill got caught, so Discord technically wins," or something like that.
Yeah, and it was one of those endings where it's like technically Bill won the fight, but he lost the overarching goal, you know? So Discord was powerful enough to make Bill fail. And so that was like a really like cool like ending to a fight that we don't usually get to see all the time, because usually it's whoever wins kind of just curb stomps in the end.
It's like, hey, I got the death, and then they walk away.
Yeah, it's like I think the best like example I can point out about this is like Black Adam versus Apocalypse. Like Black Adam's just trying to defend his country, man. And Apocalypse is like, this is mine now, and just like curb stomps the man.
That death battle still upsets me. I don't want to talk about that one. That's not in this season?
No, that was last season.
Okay.
The next episode. Actually, sorry, I forgot. Here's the updated for the tier list.
Yep. Excellent.
The next episode is the other fan requested episode, Cole versus Alex. We were split on this one.
Yeah, I thought for sure Alex was winning because he had invulnerability, and it turns out, hey, invulnerability don't matter.
Yeah, in this fight it really didn't matter because they both had some absurd regeneration. Both of them, they could like regenerate off of each other like infinitely, is from what I understood.
That's kind of the gist.
Yeah, and it really came down to the fact Cole having like a slight power advantage over Alex. And really like their stories kind of in a way, because Alex lost. I would say Alex lost like from a moral and a physical standpoint in this fight,
Mm.
because they used good Cole, right?
Yeah. Good Cole was technically the canon.
Yeah. And because and so it's very interesting to me that this one almost feels like a strictly moral debate of like these two people that got created with powers and had a choice to be good or evil. But the canon versions of them went different directions, you know?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that it almost it feels as close to like a good versus evil matchup that we can get, like a Lex versus Tony Stark kind of fight.
Is Lex really evil? That's another conversation for another day.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
this was good.
I would say Lex is very much considered the villain of like Superman. I understand like he might have like other things that drive him. That's not like his main thing, but like that's what I would say. I would say that's like a good versus bad kind of thing. But like this one is like, it's really, I think this one's like a lot more interesting because it's one guy who they both had choices, right? And
Yeah,
it's
they
just
both
like,
could make the choices, and
they both had like
Alex was one
canon
guy.
choices that were kind of picked for them, but you could pick the other direction. Yeah, so it is a solid fight. Where are you putting this one?
As much as I requested this, I actually didn't like the fight personally, so I would put it at a C.
Okay. Yeah.
I was not a big fan.
I'll agree with you on C. I think C is a good spot for it.
Yeah.
I'll concede. I think it could be a B tier, but I think C is a fine place for it to rest for this season. Because I thought
If
the
you can make a good argument, I could put it up to B, but I don't know if I enjoyed it more than
I don't think I can make a good enough argument to change your mind. I just personally really have a nostalgia for Infamous.
Mhm.
And it was very cool getting to see the animation brought to light, you know. And this was a fight that like was debated like years ago on like, what was it, like Machinima or something?
Yeah, back when the games had first dropped,
Yeah,
Xbox, PlayStation.
yeah, and they were like, man, there's nothing. A lot of places when these two games first came out were like, there's nothing Alex Mercer. There's nothing that can stop Alex Mercer. So they pretty much like any like debate of like a versus between the two characters in the early days was just like, there's nothing Cole can do to stop Alex. And so it was really cool to see that when with this coming out, there was actually arguments the other way around and into the victory of Cole.
I think because Cole had more time to grow. Because if it was just Infamous 1 Cole versus Prototype 1 Alex, I think the fight would have went differently. But Cole grew in strength and powers, and I think Alex kind of just stayed who he was.
Sort of. So like the main reason Cole won the fight is because he had that defeat that's like the bomb at the beginning of the game, and that bomb was like stronger than anything in the Prototype franchise, if I remember correctly. Like that was really the only strict feat that gave him an edge, which I would argue like maybe it's not a good enough feat to give him that much of an edge because it's like not really shown later.
Right.
But it is one of those things. So that's why I can agree that it can be at C, because maybe some of the logic is not all there, and maybe some of the maybe some of the arguments aren't like fully like looked at. But I thought it was,
people are still gonna argue this.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's not that it's not. It is definitely up to interpretation of who you think could win. Like
Yeah.
Which is like with any of these fights for the most part. Yeah. So
Solid C fight.
Solid C for sure. Ooh.
Man, this is for the gamers. This matchup was for the gamers right here.
No, this matchup was not for me, but I definitely enjoyed it.
Man, Dovahkiin versus the Undead. As a fan of both franchises, I was like, oh, I know exactly how this is gonna go, and it went exactly as I thought.
And I cry every time.
It's like the dude had dragon tongue. How are you gonna fight that, bro?
Controversial opinion on my behalf. I'm not a huge fan. Whoops. Let me get back
Yep.
to the fight. Sorry, one sec. I was moving myself.
Unicron!
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I'm not a big Skyrim guy. Like I tried to get into the game when like I was in high school, and it was almost like there was too much for me to do.
I agree.
And so like my focus got like immediately turned off from it. So the cool part about this was I got to learn a lot about Skyrim lore and Dark Souls lore, because Dark Souls I never played because I was like, oh, that is like the hard gamers game kind of thing, and I'm not about that life. You know what I mean?
I've quit that game multiple times.
Yeah, I am definitely. While I do enjoy Elden Ring is like my first attempt at playing.
That's a good place to start because that one's more forgiving than the Dark Souls franchise.
Okay, that's good to know. I still haven't finished. I still haven't finished Elden Ring. Like I'm on the Fire Giant right now.
Oh yeah, just give that dream up. Too much time has passed.
Yeah. No, I'll probably go back to it. It's just I needed to take like a long break from it, and then I'll go back and I'll try and have to relearn the controls. But I was going through and I'm just like, you know what? I know I'm not gonna be able to dodge everything. So I went in with a caster's mindset. I'm like, all right, I'm keeping my distance and I'm shooting from afar.
W gameplay. That's how. Same thing I did. I was a caster with a special sword.
Yeah,
I hit him with that Getsu Gatensho.
Yeah. So I was only disappointed because I chose Chosen Undead for this one, and I was just like, man, how is he gonna kill something that's unkillable? You know, and like even the little like soul hacks that the Dovahkiin had, I was like, what? Like, it doesn't stop the Chosen Undead, but the Fusuro Da could put out the flame, I guess, the first flame, which was cool.
Crazy thing is, I didn't fully play through Skyrim. I was a bigger fan of Elder Scrolls 4 than Skyrim. I thought Skyrim also did too much, so I didn't know his full powers.
Morrowind or Oblivion?
No, Oblivion.
Okay.
Oblivion was fire. Skyrim, they didn't. I was big into like Conjuration, and they nerfed it in Skyrim, so I just stopped playing it.
Gotcha.
So I didn't know what he could fully do. But I knew, like, if he's fighting dragons, I'm pretty sure he can beat this undead dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was just one of those, like... I'll say the one thing that I, like, didn't like about this episode was the usage of, like, the speed feat for Dovahkiin. I was like, that's
too much.
I thought it was a really... To me, it seemed a lot like King Mickey's speed feat from season, was that 7 or 8?
Oh, Mickey versus Yoda?
Yeah, because like I was like, that seems like a very that seems like a speed feat that shouldn't be considered a speed feat. Because it was like he shot the bow and it hit the moon or something and caused something to happen, and I'm like, and then they like used like how fast the arrow had to be moving in order to, and I was like, that is such a weird speed feat to give a character, like for real. So that was the one thing that threw me off, but I could get behind the fact that maybe that he's just a lot more powerful and is like a universal versus multi-universal character. Like I could see that.
Yeah. I think that's what it boiled down
to. I definitely like I don't disagree with like the outcome. It was more of there was just like one feat that I didn't buy, but I could still see them concluding the outcome the way that they concluded it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. It's a rare occasion I disagree with Death Battle because they do the research, they crunch the numbers. I typically 95% of the time I'll agree with them, but there's a few on here that we'll get to where I think it's only 1 or 2 that I disagree with. I feel like they just take liberties and they shouldn't.
Yeah, sometimes. I think it comes down to those cases where they really want to get like I know you're gonna bring up like you'd probably bring up like Popeye versus Saitama.
Oh yeah, I had to talk about that.
um,
Such a rich fight.
but I think at that point it was more like they just wanted both of those characters in death battle, and their best matchups was the other, you know.
Yeah, but that brings into the point where sometimes they'll be like, well, this is what the creator said they can do, but we also don't trust the words of the creator. So you can't take everything to be factual. But then when it comes to Popeyes, they're just taking everything to be factual. So I'm like, bro, how we gonna do this? Come on. Do we really believe Popeye's putting out the sun, but still getting beat up by Brutus?
Yeah, I think that's the one thing with like Rubber Hose, and I think we'll get into that more along the lines of when we talk about maybe like the definite fight for next season, which is Wiley versus Tom, and I think it just has to do with that animation style.
Yeah, that fight's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, and realistically, I think they said that Saitama could definitely damage Popeye before Popeye gets the spinach. But once Popeye has spinach, the fight's like over. There's like no chance. That was kind of like their thing, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. And we could disagree.
Spinach, he could do anything.
Yeah. Back to this fight though. Like,
how are we rating these fights? Are we rating these on enjoyability or like as far as research to?
I think it's how much we enjoyed it, because this is like our tier list, you know.
Okay, I know exactly where I'm putting this.
Okay,
where I would put it.
Yeah, where you
solid D.
D
fight. I did
really.
It was like I was in this one more for the knowledge, but the actual fight itself, I could care less. So for me, D.
Interesting. I feel like I put this in B, but like, ooh, that's such an interesting spot.
It's like, this fight wasn't memorable to me. Literally until we brought up the picture, I didn't remember they even had the fight. The game franchises are cool, but it's like there's nothing in this fight that was a wow moment. There's nothing in this fight that really surprised me, and that's why I had to rank it low.
I'd say I can settle with putting it at C.
I'm okay with a C.
And that's just because I really liked two major interactions in the fight. One, Dovahkiin using the call dragon thing. For Chosen Undead to immediately pull out the dragon killing bow. And then I think Dovahkiin did like the lightning yell. And then
he did.
And then Chosen Undead grabs the lightning and throws them at Dovahkiin. I thought those are some of like the coolest interactions of powers in this season. And it's very like unique to both of them. The next time we'll probably get a character throwing lightning is probably going to be like when we get Monkey D. Luffy in the battle.
No, we had a Killua Misaka. She was kind of
but lightning. she shoots lightning. But I'm saying like somebody shooting lightning at somebody and then that person grabbing the lightning and throwing it back.
Oh, okay, yeah,
that kind of thing.
And
I feel like that's something that's very like special in terms of like what characters can do.
I agree.
So yeah, I could put this on the low end to C. How about we do that? We'll put it like over here.
Yeah, C's cool with me.
Let's see what the next fight is. Ooh, controversial one. Controversial one. I'll let you talk about this.
Did we both get this one wrong?
I think we both did.
I thought Vader was gonna win because Obi-Wan beat Kakashi, and Kakashi went toe-to-toe with Obito. And Kakashi technically came out on top, but a lot of people are like, no, Obito let him win, bro. I'm like, okay, well, still, a win's a win. Come to find out, no, turns out, even though Vader's stronger in the Force than Obi-Wan is, Obito got the Ten Tails. He got the Sage of Six Paths stuff, which I guess the Force can't compete against those balls, which technically it should be because it's Senjutsu, the Force's natural properties. So I don't believe Obito should have won.
So this is one of those fights where I think they were trying to give a character like some of their better stuff, even though even within their own franchise, they can't get that stuff by themselves. Obito is one of those characters where like the 10-tail Jinchuriki, that wasn't something he can do by himself, you know?
He can't just turn up like that.
Yeah, but I think the interesting thing was the Truth Seeking Orbs. Is that what they're called?
Yep, Truth Seeking Orbs.
I think it's very interesting to think of that in terms of like it's actually could erase the Force, because the Force is midichlorians, right? It's like a living thing. Yeah. So, and I think that was like the perfect interaction where Darth Vader lost his arm in the fight. I was like, that is how truth-seeking orbs would probably work, because the Force is physical. It is a physical force in the universe that you can't see, that you can move around. So in some sense, I was like, yeah, that makes sense that the truth-seeking orbs could theoretically negate it and catch Vader off guard a little bit. I
don't know, because the Truth Seeker orbs aren't supposed to be able to negate like natural forces, because that's why Naruto, when he went into his Sage mode, was able to fight it off. Okay. So I thought in my mind that the Force being natural would be the same as like Naruto's Sage arts, and it would literally be able to combat against that.
Okay, see, because I'm thinking about it from the other perspective of like the previous times we've seen truth-seeking orbs, like with Madara Aizen. And I feel like we saw it one other time. I think it was with actually Naruto versus Ichigo, which I guess those two are semi-controversial episodes in themselves.
Yeah, oh yeah, people still debate those. They hate that Ichigo lost.
Yeah, people do hate that Ichigo lost, but he did, and that's just how it is, you know.
Yeah, I ain't even mad at that one.
And I think that's also because like, I think they were mostly doing anime stuff with both of those. Yeah. I don't really remember 100%. Them really going into any of the manga for Ichigo.
They did. They went endgame Ichigo.
Okay.
So they had to read the manga.
Okay, so because I don't remember them mentioning anything about like the 1,000-year Blood War. But that episode was so long ago that I just don't remember. See, I remember a lot of smaller interactions and a lot of like. I remember matchups and smaller interactions that happens between characters.
I remember Ichigo had his two swords. He combined them. He had the little horn on his head. Tried to do the Sero. It didn't work. So yeah, Ichigo had in-game activities going on.
Okay. Yeah, that was one of those fights where I was like, I'm not sure.
No, I 100% agree with that one.
Okay, but again, that's one of those episodes where it's like I feel like you couldn't technically have it be either. It could go either way. It's like one of those. Skipped a little far ahead over here.
Too far. There we go.
But this fight, I was upset at.
I was entertained.
I understood what they're like. We're trying to say with the story of the fight. Like Vader kind of never really got to get over his grief and his and everything that he did after like for me, Prime Vader is probably when he doesn't have the suit on, you know? Like when he has the suit on, he's still like strong and he's still powerful, but I don't really feel a sense of improvement from him as much besides maybe just rage.
I think suit on, he's more in tune with the Force. I think suit he's off. He didn't show as many like Force feet.
Sort of. When he had suit off, he was still equal to Obi-Wan. And that was like
debatable.
And there's a whole scene where they fight each other to basically a standstill. Their forces hit each other, and there is a standstill. Like, they both throw their hands forward, and there's, like, a Gojo infinity moment, and then when they both release, they both fly back. I didn't
watch 1, 2, and 3, but I feel like when he gets the suit on, and he fought Obi-Wan, granted Obi-Wan was a lot older, it was just like an overwhelming force.
Maybe. I see... There's a lot to be said about that specific fight right there. If it's actually Vader winning or if it's Obi-Wan
letting
him win to let the others get away.
Interesting. I really don't know enough about Vader. I just still feel like he should have won.
Vader is kind of Star Wars' definition of rage incarnate, and I think with the suit on, he becomes more intact with dark side for sure.
Oh yeah, and he's always in pain with that suit on too.
Yeah, and I think that was one cool thing about the episode is they very much went into like details on like what the suit actually kind of does to him, because this is the second time we've gotten Darth Vader on Death Battle. That being said, I think they've disrespected him in both fights.
They did, dog. He didn't. They made him seem like he didn't really stand a chance.
Yeah, they've been doing Vader as bad as they've been doing Shadow for the first couple seasons.
Shadow the Hedgehog?
Yeah.
Putting him against Vegeta was a crazy fight.
The Vegeta and
That was a crazy matchup.
Vegeta, and then the second fight having Shadow lose to Mewtwo. Mewtwo.
Did Shadow also was Shadow in it 3 times? Because didn't he also fight
Ryoka from Kill la Kill? Yeah, which is like it's crazy that they had to do like a planet versus moon tier for Shadow to actually get a win, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have said that Shadow speed blitzes Mewtwo, and there's nothing Mewtwo can really do to stop Shadow.
He should have, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's that.
If they redid that fight, it would end differently. Sure.
If they did that fight now, it would definitely be like a Shadow victory. Also, they would probably do something where they like use Archie Shadow instead, and Archie Shadow is probably on a similar tier to Archie Sonic and Archie Silver.
Didn't Archie Sonic lose?
He did, but he lost to he lost to
Kid Flash.
Yeah, he lost to the fastest Flash.
Yeah, facts.
And yeah, so this fight particularly for me, it's like D or F tier. I think I could put it at D because it was definitely, the fight was entertaining. It wasn't like the fight was not entertaining.
You would consider this an F potentially?
Potential. I think it'd be the better of the ones I'm considering for F. I think this is the better.
I would put it at a D. I don't think it's as bad as some of the Fs.
Okay. Some of the Fs? Oh, you have multiple Fs too?
Yeah, I have 2 Fs. One, you'll see why. One, I think we'll agree on. The second one is personal bias.
Okay, that's fair. Let's see what that next fight is though. Oh wait, here's the tier list. Got Beta.
Yep, right in the D.
Bam, right there, right at the bottom.
I think a lot of people in the comments are gonna argue that we put this in a D.
Probably. I mean,
make your own list.
I think, yeah. Well, 1, make your own list, and 2, it sucks because these are 2 like really loved franchises, and I feel like they kind of did them both wrong in a sense. But I will say the reason I would say that this is not an F tier is because it's not just Obi-Wan versus Kakashi 2, you know? They tried to do it a little bit differently.
I respect the difference. Don't respect the outcome.
Yeah. We're also just mad because we took L's.
Man, it don't make no sense.
Next fight is... Uh-oh.
Oh, man. Yes, sir. Hey. This is an A. We don't even gotta wait till then. This is an A fight. Frieza went Black Frieza, destroyed Megatron. The only reason it's not an S is because all predicted this fight. There was no reason for Megatron to even be fighting somebody like Frieza. If Frieza had a better opponent, it would be an S for sure. But because Megatron can't really compete at that level, it's an A. Animation was fire. Research was on point. I have no real complaints besides the competitor for Frieza.
Okay. Yeah, I think my real complaint also just comes in the fact that maybe if this was done before, like Golden Frieza, Black Frieza, would have been cooler fight.
Yeah.
It was a lot closer.
This
is definitely one of those fights that should have happened a lot earlier in Death Battle, like season 8. But I can't be mad at it because it was fun to watch. I think a lot of people that would say, kind of similar to Vader, they did Megatron dirty.
Yeah, I don't even know why this was a matchup. Like, what do they have in common? What are the similarities that people wanted Frieza to fight a Megatron?
They're world-conquering dictator kind of characters. That's kind of really the gist of it, and they have a similar color scheme.
Megatron, he ain't conquer no worlds. He could barely conquer Cybertron.
Cybertron's huge.
Yeah, but he couldn't even fully conquer that. They ended up ruining the planet, and he went to Earth chasing Optimus.
Well, that's a short discussion on that one. I'll leave it in A. I think it could possibly be B, but that's also just because I'm not nostalgic to either of the characters personally.
Oh, I love Frieza.
Think that
Frieza's my favorite villain of all time.
all time. I'm akin to Cell and Boo a little bit more, but I'm not a big Dragon Ball guy, so like.
That's fair.
So it's one of those, I enjoy watching the fights like on YouTube and stuff. I was always one of those guys that would like watch the fights on YouTube when I was growing up. But I
watched Goku go Super Saiyan in Spanish because they got the episode before us. So I watched it on an international channel, and Frieza was talking about ¿Cómo estás? And Goku's like "Me gusta," and it went yellow.
Okay. Me gusta.
They say exactly that.
Wait, they me gusta memed Goku into Super Saiyan?
They say exactly that, but that's what my memory says.
That'd be hilarious. I need to watch that now. But yeah, I didn't really. We're called the Otakus, and one of us just has not watched Dragon Ball, which is me.
Shame him. Shame him, Chad.
Hey. Finish One Piece, okay? Then we
I
can
won't
talk.
even know. Unless it comes on 4Kids TV, I ain't in it.
Yeah. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Hey, man. Gotta go. Dreaming.
All right. Next fight. Yep. Gojo versus Makima.
I thought this was an interesting fight. This is where you can shame me a little bit. I haven't watched Chainsaw Man yet, so I knew nothing about Makima. But I'm big on Jujutsu Kaisen, current anime, caught up in the manga, so I knew a lot about Gojo, and I did not see how Makima would stand a chance personally. But I heard she deals with concepts and stuff, so maybe there was a slight chance. But fight was average. Didn't really do anything wow worthy.
I thought the fight was very on par for the two shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would say that Jujutsu Kaisen, while it is very good, it's a very good show right now. And season 2 was very, very fire. Possibly even anime of the year. I know, like, the big two that are, like, fighting for anime of the year right now is JJK and One Piece, ironically.
What?
Yeah.
Nah, it's Attack on Titan.
I think Attack on Titan had its time. I think it took way too long.
Final season.
I think they took too long with the final season. They stretched it out into like 4 different parts.
They did. That's the downside.
And I was like, and a lot of people don't like the ending.
What? No, it made people cry.
Not the people that I know.
I thought it was a solid ending.
I know a lot of people that are like, man, they really like decided to do that with Aaron's character, and that's what they decided to do. And I was like, it's the ending. It's like the real ending. So it's just one of those things where I think it's one of the journey is cooler than the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got some anime that's like that.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
But with this fight in particular, I gotta say, it was one of those things where I'm like, there are interesting interactions that can be had between the two of them, but it really came down to the fact that like Gojo is him. You know?
Yeah, and he will continue to be him.
Yeah, we ain't spoiling the manga.
Yeah, he took a DNA test. He's 100% Himalayan. Oh yeah, that was you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm supposed to be the one that makes puns, but I think that was even like Death Battle's like video, like the preview for him was Gojo is him.
Yeah, that was the preview. Yep.
Yeah.
And he proved it in the fight.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those fights where it's like the verses are similarly powered, but there's just like 2 or 3 mechanics in Jujutsu Kaisen that puts them above Chainsaw Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, it's just hard to imagine somebody. There's only a handful of characters that I think could beat Gojo, so it's hard for me to imagine a lot of people beat it. So typically, if you put Gojo versus somebody, I'm Team Gojo.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about more Gojo matchups in a future episode for sure. But yeah, like I feel like this fight's close, but it's not like debatable. You know what I mean?
No, Gojo would win. 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, 10 times out of 10, Gojo wins low diff. But like that's not to undersell Makima. I think that is just because Gojo is him.
I literally I haven't seen Chainsaw Man, so I still, besides what Death Battle told me, I don't really know Makima.
So Makima is scary, but she's better as like a tactician and a planner. Like if she because it's Death Battle, there's no prep time, right? So it's not like she could. Nope. And I think this was one of the things that they talked about in the episode itself.
If she could plan for him, she might be able to fight.
She couldn't get away from him to be able to set up her like scariest move, which is like she sacrifices somebody knowing the other person's name and insta kills them. Like they just die. And it's like a long range, no matter where they're at kind of spell. It's very, very scary.
But she needs time to set that up.
Yeah, she needs time to set that up, and she needs to have the knowledge of the person's name, which Gojo technically did give him her name, or give her his name. Yeah.
It's crazy. I would never give somebody I'm fighting my name. I don't know what they could do.
But Gojo's him. He knew there was no threat.
Man, that's my problem with Gojo. He too cocky. That's why stuff be happening to him. No spoilers.
Is he cocky or is he just overconfident? He's just confident. I think he's just confident.
Both. I'm giving him both.
I'm actually interested more in the fight between Endgame Chainsaw Man, like the actual like Denji versus yeah,
Itadori.
Yeah, Yuji.
Oh, we gotta wait for in-game Yuji, because right now Yuji, I kind of hate him personally.
Yeah,
He matters to me.
I mean,
People hyping him up,
he
but
ain't
he
your
ain't
main
nothing.
character from what you were telling me.
He ain't even the story's real main character, bro. He's like, oh, people like this series. I need a new main character. Here's Yuji.
Yeah, see that is one thing I've always felt about Yuji. I'm like, man, I feel like we are just not giving Yuji enough power, or like
All he does is
scaling.
punch.
That's like your thing. You like that.
Not in this world where you have like cursed abilities where you got to do summoning stuff. You got a weapons master. You got somebody controlling his own blood,
Dude.
And then the main character just punches. Like, bro, what are we watching?
My favorite character in the show literally claps to change places with things. Like, come on, that's cool.
That's a fire ability. Yuji can't even do that. He just throws his fist. He's like, oh no, he's beating me. Let me throw my fist harder.
Pause. Oh, I got it. But like, I think it's interesting to see that. Like, I think that, like, the reason that Gojo like took interest in Yuji is because his just natural athletic ability in a world that's like not naturally athletic, you know. So it was
he ate the fingers. That's the only reason he ate them fingers.
Well, that and he saw the natural physical abilities of Yuji, right?
No, he was just curious. Why can he make Sukuna shell back in? And Gojo was like, "Oh, you can do that? Interesting."
Oh.
And that's the only reason he took him in, because he was like, "Can you control Sukuna? If you can, let's explore this."
Okay.
And
well, I mean, that's kind of what gives him the ability to use cursed energy, right? It's because he swallowed the fingers.
No, but it would be getting into spoilers if I told you more.
Okay, that's fair. We'll talk about it later, because I honestly don't care about spoilers, but I don't want to spoil a podcast. Because this isn't a spoiler cast. This is more just talking about stuff that's happened in the show.
Yeah. So where would you rank this one? Because I know where I'm putting it.
I probably put it around B.
I could do B.
Where were you thinking?
I was leaning upper C.
Okay.
But I could also do B.
I think like mid-tier B, like somewhere around here.
Yeah, I think that's fine. That's appropriate.
One sec. Let me actually show people the tier list. like right here.
By the way, y'all, we're ranking these based on, like, for us, enjoyability.
Yeah, I think it was our personal enjoyability, and just, you know, not much to say. I think it was solid. I think it was very interesting how they blended the two styles, but in the end, it felt like one of those fights that just wasn't necessarily.
Yeah,
but like I know like a couple, like they had that podcast when they did Death Battle Cast for this fight, and it was like it was like semi close, but that was like when Chainsaw Man was at the peak popularity. And JJK was kind of on like a down before season 2.
Before season 2 dropped, yep.
Yeah, and so we learned a lot about Gojo and how he's him.
This fight wasn't necessarily like, because the combatants are so different, and I think that's why it lands at a B instead of higher. Because this fight was just more of, could Makima get past Infinity, or could Gojo get past her hacks? That's all it was. It was a question fight.
Yeah, and I think this is actually very interesting, because it's one of those first fights where they had to put stipulations on the fight before the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had to put on the fact that cursed energy and devils are similar enough to where if basically they had to say these things are so similar that if we tried to make them separate, this fight just wouldn't work.
And I think that's fair. And I think it should be.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely how more fights like this should be. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree.
All right, next fight.
Who we got next?
GVS 3
3.0. I enjoyed this fight as much as I hated that they did this a third time. Visually stunning, characters nailed them. Fight itself beautiful. Love the outcome, which we all knew what the outcome was. But
yeah,
as far as enjoyability goes, it's honestly hard to top how enjoyable this is.
Yep.
I just hate how predictable it was.
If this wasn't the third time that we had this fight, I think it would rank in S tier for me. Like, if this was Goku versus Superman 2, I think this would rank S tier for me.
It's crazy how I'm still going to put this in S tier for me.
Okay. I could definitely put it S tier. Like, I could definitely maybe high A, low S.
I think fight alone, taking away the fact that it's the third one, just the fight alone, the visuals, the outcome, the beam battles, the levels, S rank worthy for me.
Yeah, and I want to say that I think the reason that it does belong in S tier is not only because of the animation, I think this is like as close to the first one where they kind of paid a lot of respect to both characters.
Yeah.
This is like the opposite of Vader Obito to me. So like
I think Goku Superman 2, Superman felt like he was the injustice Superman, how he just wanted to kill Goku.
Yeah,
this one
they kind of bloodlusted Superman more in that one, and were just super disrespectful to Goku. Even though Goku's like a character that canonically, I don't know if I should say canonically, but like Death Battle creators and like love Goku.
You think they do? I thought they hated Goku.
No, Chad loves Goku. Like Goku's one of his favorite fictional characters. It's just unfortunate that the fight that he's most known for is the one where he loses.
And he will always lose this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so I think there are versions of this where Goku, like there are definitely versions of Superman Goku could beat, and those are all the versions that I would say are like in the general public popular media. Like I think Goku would beat like Man of Steel Superman pretty easily because we never get anything super high tier in like the DC movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that would be like limiting Superman.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be a fair fight.
Yeah, no, and I think that's one cool thing that they did with this fight is that they even took into account like heroes and Xenoverse and everything possible they could for Goku to kind of just prove that like, hey, the main canon line of Superman is gonna beat Goku regardless. But I will say it was cool how they did like the conclusion where they were like doing the different titles and stuff, and they were like, yeah, Goku actually wins in these areas.
Yeah, this one I really liked how they did it. I don't ever want to see it again though.
Yeah, if they do 4, it's gotta be like when Dragon Ball is done, you know.
Yeah, if Goku becomes the new king of all, then sure, let's run a 4th time. Anything short of that, don't do it.
Yeah, if Goku learns like Zeno powers, then maybe.
Right, that's the only exception, but yeah, we're kind of done with this.
So we're putting this S tier. S for please stop.
S. Yes.
All right. So that goes in our S tier. Let's see what the next fight is. Guts versus Dimitri.
I got a lot of hate for my prediction on this one. Like, this is my most hated Death Battle prediction video.
Really?
Yep, because I thought Guts was going to win, and everybody just destroyed me. And I had to defend Guts.
No, I remember this. I remember because you were like, nah, you best Guts better lose, because if he doesn't lose and he wins, I'm going to go off on everybody.
Yeah, literally, the world needed Guts to lose, because I would have just ran havoc on everyone, especially this one dude who put me in his prediction and called me stupid or something like that. Oh, I was finna let him have it if Guts won.
Yeah, I think I shared that with you.
It was literally better for the world that Guts lost. I needed to.
Yeah. My friend who's like a big Berserk fan was like angry that Guts lost too, but I was just like, I enjoyed this episode purely off the fact that it gave us a more grounded version of Guts. I don't really care about Dimitri. Like I didn't care about his character or anything. This was just more of a reconciliation for how they did my boy Nightmare back in like season 2.
And everybody was holding on to that. I forgot about that fight.
I didn't, because I love Soul Calibur, and the fact that they have never respected Soul Calibur in a death battle, and that like infuriates me, because we've had two death battles with Soul Calibur people, and both of them they just made it seem like the Soul Calibur person was not good at all, and I'm like, what?
They're just human. They're like, Soul Calibur, y'all just human. Get out of here.
Yeah, and I'm like the conclusion for that one for Guts was just like, oh, Guts kills things that are stronger than him every day, so he should be able to do this. And I'm like, that's such like a terrible argument. What?
They were just like, here's the reason, because why not?
Yeah, and I think even back in the day, I was like, okay, this is cool. Like I see what they're saying, but like as I grew up and like realized, I'm like, oh no, they kind of just shot all over Soul Calibur. This was one of those fights where I was like, I think I was rooting for Guts, but I had a feeling that Dimitri would win. Kind of like another fight this season, but like I thought this one was like the better version of it.
I don't agree with this fight only because canonically, some of the feats they gave Dimitri technically didn't happen. So if they're giving him all the powers from the 3 different lines, I feel like that's low key kind of cheating.
Yeah,
you have to pick a line, and because Dimitri, they were like, "Oh, he survived this bombing from an ancestral dragon." I'm like, okay, but he gets shot by an arrow in his shoulder. He's incapacitated for a fight.
Yeah,
so it can't be his durability is this high, and a simple arrow can still take him out. It doesn't compete.
But if we're talking about like death battle here, it's like we got to look at the character's best timeline. You know what I mean?
They look at every timeline now.
Yeah, no, well, they analyze every timeline to like understand all the other characters, kind of thing. So like when he fights somebody in his best timeline, they want to know how powerful that person is, so they take feats from the other timelines with that character. You know what I mean?
They took a feat from Edelgard, and said because Dimitri can fight her, he can do this too.
Yeah,
I was like, no.
Well, he could at least survive it. That was kind of the thing.
Nah, this man, he got surrounded by like 10 soldiers and couldn't survive that.
Yeah, but that was on his bad timeline, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we wouldn't be.
But I'm like, if we're taking everything, it means it can happen. So Guts should have been able to cut him.
I mean, I feel like I think Guts at his worst is better than Dimitri at his worst for sure. But when you look at them both at their best, which is what Death Battle tends to try and do, it goes the other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but still, I just don't agree with the feats they gave to me. This is one of the death battles that I still won't agree with.
Okay.
This and Papa versus Saitama.
Where are you ranking this one? Because I feel like
F. Because I don't agree with it.
I could put it in C at the lowest, I think, because this one's like A tier for me.
Oh man, you can put it in C. I just want everybody to know in parentheses. F.
I'll put a little side note. I'll slide in a note at the bottom. It'll say Uncrowned. Uncrowned put at an F. But yeah, it's just one of those fights, and this was like really the only, like, we had 2 semi-grounded fights. This one, well, actually, this was really the only grounded fight. Now I'm thinking about it. Like it was just 2 warriors that didn't have like ridiculous cosmic scaling fighting each other. Yeah,
this is what I call sad boys. 2 sad boys fighting.
2 sad boys. C for sad boys.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I'll put a little. We'll have a little like the side box come in and say Uncrowned. Nah, like you know how they do in the death battle, the side box. We'll just have one of those come down and say Uncrowned wanted.
He could have had it his way.
Yeah. Next fight.
This is the fight that divided a lot of people because Killua has Godspeed, and people think Godspeed is the epitome of a power who can beat it. I'll tell you who. Misaki.
Mikasa.
Her name is Mikasa? I thought it was Misaki. Misaka. Okay. I'll tell you who can beat Godspeed. Misaka.
Coming off the last fight, I think you put it for Dark Souls versus Skyrim, forgettable fights.
It's very forgettable.
For me, this is a forgettable fight, which is unfortunate because I'm a big Hunter x Hunter fan.
Same.
Like, I love Hunter x Hunter. And I think this is one of those fights where it's like, the character connection is they do lightning things, and that's kind of it.
Yep. It was like, hey, I do magic, I do nin. Lightning properties. Put them in.
They're just, their powers are similar enough to where it's like, we could do this. And while I think the fight was somewhat entertaining, and it was one of those where I was just like, after it was done, I just kind of let it go. It was just gone. I was like, all right, wipe my hands, get ready for the next fight. What is it? And I don't even remember what the next fight was. Like, I think this was the 3rd episode of the season.
I can check. This was 3rd episode.
Yeah, this came after Dark Souls Skyrim. Which is funny that your forgettable episode and my forgettable episode were right next to each other.
Right next to each other.
They
did that on purpose.
Sure. I think they got like maybe some of the less like cool new franchises, less interesting matchups out of the way at the beginning. I think that's why this season's so good, is because it's like every fight it felt like it was like a stepping stone, and
they got better as the season progressed.
Yeah, for the
most part. There's one in the middle that was trash, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, for sure. I think there was another reason why people didn't like that section of fights in the middle of the season is because we might have had too many of that particular matchup style.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but this one for me, while forgettable, I thought it was very pretty. And it was a good introduction to both Hunter x Hunter and Certain Magical Index.
Yeah. I really don't have too much to say about this one because I wasn't too invested. I knew how it would go.
Yeah. I think you
Question
went with
is,
Killua.
where do we rank it? No, oh no. God, no, I didn't.
I think you did,
How dare you? No, not a chance. I went with Misaki.
Misaka, got it. Okay.
Misaki, yeah. Whatever her name is.
I feel like they tried their best to be respectful to at least both characters. So I feel like this is kind of a C rank.
I'm looking at everything else.
I'm okay with putting it lower.
I would put it D.
Yeah.
Enjoyability, I think I liked watching Vader and Obito more than watching this one.
Okay. But is that because we just have more nostalgia for those characters, or is it because the death battle was actually...
No, I'm thinking just the death battle, the fight in itself.
Okay.
I think it was just more fun.
I could
the soundtrack was probably better.
I could rank it here below Vader Obito. I think that's a fair place to put it. I'm hoping Hunter x Hunter gets some wins in the future, but I knew this wasn't.
I don't even know who they could put in. Oh, Chairman Netero, he could make it in. I don't know who he would fight.
Netero, Hisoka, Gon.
Hisoka deserves a death battle. Death battle is literally what he's created for.
Yeah, literally. Chrollo would be cool too. He's the guy that has the book.
That's a tough match. Yeah, his power is like hacking.
Yeah,
so
his powers are very interesting. I think it'd be actually Chrollo versus somebody on the lower tier of Black Clover would be very interesting. Because I want to see how their tomes would interact. Like, would he be able to steal spells from a Black Clover tome kind of idea?
I guess if they count spells as nin, then yes.
Yeah. Next fight is
oh gosh, trash. The epitome of trash.
Yeah, this was the low point of the season for me.
The most disgusting fight they've ever done. They tried to make it feel like an old school detective movie, the way they did it in black and white with the overrated narrator in the beginning. Like, I hated it. I hated everything about this.
I think a major problem that I have with this fight is the matchup itself. Kind of, I get that they're like, oh, there's these two aliens from other planets that are trying to like become Earth's protector, kind of thing, or become a planetary protector.
But the levels and powers is just too
insane.
Vast.
The power cosmic is wild.
Yeah, like I felt bad for he stood zero chance.
Yeah, he had no chance of winning, and that was very obvious once I just did like a teeny bit of research. I'm like, oh, because
this is a stomping.
Yeah, and also just like I think it was execution on the animation itself. While I thought the stylistic choice was cool at the beginning, I think it was more of just like the abandonment of that idea so quickly was so jarring, and it didn't really like help the fight. Because like I would have loved this fight like 10 times more if they had kept the room a thing and it was just like them mentally discussing in the room, and then we get like glimpses of them actually like fighting outside, like in just the vastness of space. But really the fight would come down to them just having the discussion, you know?
Yeah. It'd just be a talk.
Yeah, a talk.
A deaf talk.
Yeah. It would be a debate battle.
They actually need to do something like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, like this one felt like so much more of where it could have just been like them talking about their own personal philosophies. But instead it was like they immediately abandoned that and had them just kind of attempt to punch each other out.
I don't think there's any good way they could have done this.
I think my concept, while cool for this fight, is not necessarily like even still able to get it out of where we're both gonna rank it, I assume.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, this is my F tier of the season for sure.
That would have been my second F if I could have had Guts and Dimitri my way.
I enjoyed that one though. Like Guts Dimitri has like some nice things to it, you know.
Yeah, the ending was emotional, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it was cool that like Dimitri's like, oh, I see you're haunted too. Let me try and fight some of the things that have been haunting you. And it's almost like they tried to do a lot more of those kinds of episodes this season, where it was like there was reconciliation of some sort between the two fighters.
Oh, that does make sense. That could have been an underlying thing.
Yeah. Because like I would even say that this fight, Martian Manhunter versus Silver Surfer, kind of ended with them questioning why they were fighting, but realizing that one of them had to die.
Yeah, they realized halfway through they didn't want to fight each other, but it just had to be done.
Yeah, and like Goku versus Superman, like Goku might have lost, but it was like the ending was like so bromancy that I loved it. You know?
Yeah. He was just like, "Hey, man, I'll come back. Let's do it again when they wish me back."
Yeah, it was like Macho Man versus Kool-Aid Man, where it's like at the end, it was like Kool-Aid Man just brings him back, and he's like, "Yeah, see you next week at the same time," kind of thing. And I was like, "Yeah, yeah," but this one's definitely was super boring, and it's not even that it was forgettable. Like Mikasa versus
Killua, not forgettable.
Yeah, Mikasa versus Killua is forgettable. But
this is just lame.
Yeah, this one just like I remember how much I didn't like it.
All right, what we got next?
And then
big boy F.
Another F. I think this one's at least D.
This ain't no F. Nah. Yeah, this ain't no F. It's solid D.
Yeah, I think this is one of those. I think this is one of those we were just getting. We kind of just got burnt out on Marvel DC this season, and we
had Raven versus the Princess Pony, and so we knew what Raven could do.
Yeah, but I think they were going with strictly like animation Teen Titans Raven in that one.
Were they?
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, it was like they were just scaling her from the cartoon. And in this one, they scaled her to comics. In this one, they scale because if I remember correctly, like bigger side scale feats for Raven in Twilight versus Raven was like her like being able to push up the Earth that Terra was like throwing or something. I remember that was like some of the feats they gave her.
Oh yeah, and I guess she didn't go into her goddess mode in the pony fight.
Yeah, she went in. Did she go into white mode? I don't remember.
In this one? Yeah.
No. In this one, she definitely went into the White Raven and Ultra God Deluxe Raven. This one was like similar to Billcord, just less enjoyable to me.
Yeah. To me, it's because I hate recurring characters when there's so many different franchises we can dip into.
Yeah,
that's part of the reason why I'm rating it lower.
And I think this was so close to Martian Manhunter versus Silver Surfer. I think these two were like, I think there was like an episode between them.
Yeah,
and it was one of those. A lot of I know my opinion was the same as a lot of people. I'm like, we're getting another Marvel versus DC. We just had one the episode before.
Kind of worn out.
Yeah, and it was like one of those like, look, we need to get more things in. And while I get that this is like DC Magic Girls that have bird themes, and are universal, I was just kind of like, this is kind of lame.
Yeah, I wasn't here for it.
Yeah, so this one is C or D for me. You're
I'm D.
Yeah. D. Well, I thought the fight had some cool moments and the ending was, pretty. I was just
that's not enough.
I was unironically burnt out because Phoenix.
Yeah. I'm cool off Marvel DC matchups for a while. Let's dip into different franchises.
Yeah, let's bring in some more stuff next season, guys.
Yeah. I think Marvel DC peaked at Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna. That was peak Marvel DC.
Yeah, I could see that. I think
it was like
I think my favorite Marvel DC was Batman Iron Man.
That was solid too.
Yeah, for me it was funny because Batman lost again. But like, it's just like Batman's not
no prep time. Batman is not a fighter, bro.
Yeah, that's like the thing with Batman. Anyways, next fight is
F.
This
was my other F. 100% biased. I hate both franchises. Didn't care for the research. Didn't care for the fight. Realistically, D. But personally, F.
Okay.
I hate everything about both of these franchises.
See, it's funny. So, like, I love Doctor Who. And this episode actually got me back into Rick and Morty. I haven't been watching it, like, on Hulu or wherever you can watch Rick and Morty from.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually been watching it through another YouTube channel who like reacts to it and puts it behind a thing. But that's how I've been keeping up with Rick and Morty.
I was a Rick and Morty fan until I think like season 3 or something. Where it just got so stupid.
So
after the whole Beth thing, I was so done.
Yeah,
with the
seasons 5 and 6 were like but the recent season has some kick-ass episodes that really brought it back to kind of where it used to be back then, like with Pickle Rick kind of episode.
Yeah, that's kind of what they need. They need like those zany episodes, but still following a main plot line. I hated that there were so many weird episodes intermingled that did nothing for the plot. Like it was just like a one-off episode, and I was like, I'm done with this franchise. I don't even care what happens. I'm done. Doctor Who, I've never cared about.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the Doctors 9 through 11, up to like Day of the Doctor, and so that's David Tennant, which is the version that they used in the fight. And Matt Smith, those were the two. They had like 6 seasons combined and one like movie. I will say I think I kind of rate this low because I had a lot of what's the word?
Personal bias?
No, a lot of. I think I had too much hype, too much
hope,
expectations, too many
go.
expectations. While the fight to me was like well done, it didn't meet the expectations that I had set on it. Because like to me, the finale of this fight would have been way cooler if like they somehow teleported into like the Citadel of Ricks, and it was just like the Ricks all were like trying to set up something to stop the Doctor, but the Doctor, because there's something that happens in the Day of the Doctor movie where he like is able to basically bring all his past lives together, and they all collectively use their individual TARDISes to like remove a thing from space-time, like put it in its own pocket dimension so that it can't break out.
Instead, they use the ultimate nullifier or something like that.
Yeah, the ultimate nullifier felt so weird. But yeah, like I think on the basic level of this fight was none of Rick's tech could technically fend off the sonic screwdriver as its main conclusion. I think they did a really poor job of like showing that. They showed it once or twice.
See, I don't even remember this fight.
Yeah, so there's the part where Rick's beating up the Doctor with like the robotic arms, and then the Doctor pulls out the screwdriver, and then they blow up. And then I think it's at the end of the fight, the Doctor uses his screwdriver to mess with the portal gun to shoot off a portal, and that's the thing that the cool detail of the fight is when Rick gets the D-matter gun, he shoots it at the Doctor, and the Doctor turns around. I missed that like when I was watching it, but I watched a reviewer. His name is Nemesis Bloodrat.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. I think I've sent you videos of him before. He does like 2-hour long things where they talk about like the predictions and stuff. Yeah. But with this one, I was like, there was a detail that I missed, and that was the portal that Rick had used to find the Doctor at the end was the same portal that got shot through so that the Rick would shoot himself with the D-matter gun.
Hilarious.
And I was like, how did I miss that? There were so many like little details in this episode that were really cool. Just unfortunate the fight is not, I wasn't invested, but I was overly let down by this episode. And it wasn't through any fault of them. I think they did a good job in presenting it. But it was just one of those fights where it's just kind of like, eh. And I did like that we got 2 new franchises with it though, for sure. I could put it in D tier.
D it is.
Boom.
Bombastic side-eye.
All right. Scooby versus Courage.
Oh, bro, come on. This was excellent.
Absolutely a top-tier tune battle.
Factual. And it wasn't even a classic death battle. This was more of a death race to escape. They weren't really fighting each other. They were trying to get away from who we discovered is Eustace.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's a great spin, because why would they fight each other? They're both kind of cowards and only fight if like
friends, actually.
Yeah, that's another crazy thing. They know each other.
I think this is if not S tier, A tier, personally for me.
For sure. S tier for sure.
S tier for sure for you.
Yeah.
I think let me make the argument for A tier. I think My argument for A tier is actually the crossover episode. Because without the crossover episode, Courage theoretically wins.
You think so?
Yeah. So well, I mean,
I did pick Courage to win regardless, though.
yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like I feel like if they didn't know each other, like I think it's cool that they know each other, and I think that's awesome. But a big crux of their argument for why Courage couldn't win is because the computer didn't know him, didn't know Scooby-Doo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And the part where, so like the thing that like that's good about the crossover episode is the like meteorite thing that erases reality kind of thing or changes reality.
Mm.
Like that was those two things like cancel each other out with like the chest that traps forever and the meteorite. But having that crossover episode gave Scooby an edge that I wasn't expecting Scooby-Doo to have, and that was that the computer couldn't give Courage a solution to the problem because the computer canonically doesn't know Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Gang.
Actually.
And so it was one of.
I was most surprised they let Courage use the computer. Like he had time to use the computer.
Yeah, and I think that's because this is one of the more goofier episodes. They're both Toon Force characters, and I think it's very interesting that Scooby-Doo had a lot more regenerative abilities than I had realized.
Turns out he's an alien.
He's like an Egyptian alien god or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. So it was cool from a learning perspective and stuff. And I think the animation was very good. I don't think this is S tier.
What? Okay, go back to the list.
Right now, the two that we have in S tier is Superman vs. Goku and Bill Cord.
So if we're talking pure enjoyability, you know what? I put it in A. I don't think I enjoy it more than Frieza Megatron. I would put it in an A.
I think it's a cool concept, and it's like a very good. We're getting introduced to kind of like what happens when two Toon Force characters fight each other, and I think that's going to be a big part of what happens next season, because of Tom Wiley.
Which I'm not even going to try to think about what they'll do with that, but I'm looking forward to next season. Next season has potential bangers.
I am super interested in whatever they do for next season.
Next fighter.
We're getting the next two. We got two more matchups left. And Stitch versus Rocket.
This is how they started the season, right? No, this isn't the start.
This was...
this felt early, though.
I think this was episode 4.
Yeah, this is the 4th fight. They started with Adam.
Yeah, this came after... So there were 4 episodes... The 3 episodes that came before this was Adam Ant-Man. Yep. And then the 2 most forgettable episodes of the season.
Oh, yeah.
And then this.
Yeah.
And
this
for me,
one, I'm not mad at the fight.
This one for me is like that. I got that personal bias, like you do with Megatron. Stitch is one of my favorite Disney fictional, just in general, characters. So I super enjoyed this fight. Yeah. Especially
I thought it was interesting. Just because this fight to me, even I didn't realize Stitch was as smart as he is. So initially I thought it was a brute strength versus supreme intellect type of fight. Mm-hmm. Turns out no, Stitch is just him.
Yeah, Stitch is him, but he would lose to Gojo him.
Oh, absolutely. Stitch don't stand no chance getting past infinity.
Yeah, he would lose to Purple.
Yep.
I was like,
is there anything mean hollow Purple?
I was like, is there anything Stitch could do? I think Stitch could process infinity. But he would still be stunned for enough time for Gojo to... We'll talk more about Gojos and Gauntlets later.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, personally, to me, would be an S, but I can, set it down at an A or B.
I think it's a B.
You think it's a B?
Yeah. When you look at all what we have in the A category, I don't think it's as good as the A's, but I do think it's it. I do think it's better than the B's.
I think I enjoyed this similarly to how you enjoy Megatron and Starscream, Megatron and Frieza.
I'm willing to put it up to A then.
Okay, I think because for my personal enjoyment, it'd be there. Again, on my personal list, I'd probably put this at S tier because it's just introduced. It put Stitch into Death Battle, which I think is wild and awesome because there's just so much stuff that I didn't even know about Stitch. That was put into this fight. And I think the one thing that they could have done that would have been really funny is they could have had like Rocket make a mech and Stitch could also just make a mech. And they could have had like a Gundam fight. That
would have been hilarious.
I
think the reason I initially put it at a B is because Rocket is so outclassed. That takes away a little bit of the enjoyability.
So I think
Rocket don't got no.
He's outclassed in certain areas. So like Rocket has, and this is why people don't like this episode, is because Rocket loses, even though Rocket has things that technically could possibly kill Stitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a big thing that people were like, man, he has like guns that like fight like reality warpers and like Thanos with Infinity Gauntlet and stuff like that, right?
Right.
But like Stitch is on that level of durability, so it was like it came in, and I think they said it in the death battle. This really came down to who was faster and who could, because like I think they brought up the fact that they're pretty sure that Rocket could outthink Stitch. Stitch was technically smarter, but Rocket was more of a tactician in terms of it.
Yeah.
Whereas Stitch is more of Stitch relies heavily on his durability and tinkering and messing with tinkering and just throwing stuff together kind of thing. Whereas Rocket is more of like a trap technician, technical fighter. And it was a very interesting to see how they're semi-similar, but also very different in terms of how they go about things. And if Stitch didn't have like the Stitch anime or whatever it was called, he loses
Lilo
the fight.
and Stitch.
No. Yeah. There was
Oh, not the cartoon, the actual anime.
Yeah,
I've never seen the actual anime.
I saw the first episode. The first episode's wild. He like flies through a black hole and ends up in like an alternate timeline or alternate reality. It's very weird.
He winning. He went through a black hole. He winning.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like surviving a black hole versus Thanos killing gun. Like he would have to get the shot off with the Thanos. So there was like a lot of debate around this, and I think people are still going to be like agree or disagree with it regardless of the outcome. Anyway, that's why I would put it S tiers, because it's just really cool. Like both characters, and I think they did both of them like a lot of justice in my opinion.
Easy enough. Let's meet in the middle. Landed at an A.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Last fight, saving the best for last? Question mark.
I guess, yeah.
The ending for last?
The only gripe I have, which a lot of people probably have the same thing, you couldn't really necessarily understand what they were saying. A lot of the times I had to read the subtitles because I was like, what is this man talking about? So overall, I still put it in an S. I think this fight.
So I think this fight had a lot of spectacle.
Yeah, they were throwing like solar systems.
Yeah. It's one of those fights where I was like, man, this is cool. It's something we've wanted forever. And I definitely think it belongs in maybe an S tier's position. I don't know for me personally if it's S tier, because I'm not really like super invested in either of these characters.
Oh, I love Transformers.
But I felt it was like, oh man, we have these two like cosmic threats, right? And then the fight is just them punching each other. Getting bigger and punching each other.
That's another thing. They were huge and got huger, which isn't a word, but we're going to go with it.
Yeah, they got more big.
Yeah, they were like, take this. I'm powerful. And they were like, oh, you can do that too?
It's also
two sons.
I think it's Yoga versus Superman was the first reaction I edited for you for Death Battle. And when they revealed this as the finale, you were like, I think one of my favorite things, I put a little meme next to it. You were like, World Eater versus World Eater. Who's gonna be the world beater? I was like, hey, what?
Hey, yo.
Pause. But yeah, I think this is
the soundtrack for this was great. Everything they did, animation style, excellent. Fighting, excellent. Backing soundtrack, heightened the animation for me. I gotta put this in the S.
S tier? Yeah, I can agree that this is it's a finale. They gotta go big for finales, you know. So I feel like this had everything going for it, and that's why it is definitely an S tier. Even though my personal like enjoyment of the fight would probably be lower, but I can't disagree that like this is an S tier level death battle. Even if my own personal enjoyment is like telling me like, I think it's also because this fight is not like for me. Like I'm not super into Transformers. I'm not super into like Galactus and Marvel. I'm like I like Marvel comics, but like I like Iron Man and Spider-Man Marvel comics. And Galactus.
I'm not really a big comic person.
Yeah. Well, I think we're more anime people, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we are the otakus. Yeah. So this is our tier list.
This is the official OtakuZ podcast Death Battle Season 10 tier list. If you agree with it, hooray. If you disagree with it, drop something in the comments. Let us know where you would rank certain death battles. I'm curious to know what y'all think, what the people think.
And I'll post this on Twitter so that you guys can have this for yourselves. And so we can talk about it more there. I'll probably post this on like Reddit, maybe.
That's a good place for debate.
Yeah, well, just to get a little bit of buzz around the podcast and stuff. So it'd be good. Let me look for the podcast.
That's a solid looking list, except for the F. I wish there was one more in the F category.
I think there are a bunch of fights that could be in the F tier.
This is a good looking list. I think you'd be hard pressed to really disagree with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure people will disagree. Like that. I put the reason Stitch is so high because of me. Some people might say that Megatron versus Frieza is too high, but I know that's a you thing. So like, and I totally understand like why it deserves to be where it is.
They're gonna say that's not high enough.
Yeah, and also honestly, if we're ranking this among like past seasons of Death Battle, I think this is S tier season.
Yeah. With only like 2 stinkers in the mix, they did good this season.
Yeah, and the stinkers are kind of like they're still good. They're entertaining. I think there's only one that was like not,
right. And there's one that everybody hates, and the rest are arguable.
Yeah, for sure. Let's. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I don't know where this is gonna end up going. Maybe we can get on Spotify. We'll see.
That'd be fire.
Yeah, but I'm gonna stop the recording.